Y'all, my name is Jasmine Jones. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and you're now watching Black Girl Therapists in the Wild. And today is a little series I like to call Therapist Sips and Reviews. Today I am sipping on kombucha and vodka. See, the stomach healing stuff is mixed in with the stomach tearing up stuff, so it balances each other out. Yes. Oh my gosh. And today we are reviewing Cuties. I sat through this shit. I had to fast forward some parts. Oh, I'm also snacking on some what are these? Madeleines, because they taste good and I like the texture. It's like eating a sweet sponge. Yep. Anyways, so I sat through this shit and I could see where the person that created this story was trying to come from. I could see. She was just trying to explore sexuality and how it develops in children and girls and but no. No. The way the message is packaged made me cringe. Made me have to fast forward through some parts. Made me wonder why there was a lot of focus on certain areas of these children's bodies, and just why do there have to be focus on the areas of the children's bodies in order to explain childhood sexuality and development in this new age with social media and all that shit. Anyways, we start off with Ame. Her name is Amina something. She's Muslim. So I think they're from Senegal. They're moving into France, Paris, somewhere in France. Y'all speak French. And I just wanted one caveat here. They are a bit more free in France with sexuality and body displaying of bodies. When I took French class in high school, our French teacher would make us learn from these French fashion magazines and things, a la, Cosmopolitan and French and shit. And she's supposed to go through them and take out the naked pictures before giving them to the students, but sometimes she misses the naked pictures. Yes, Cosmopolitan type fashion magazines in France, you will see naked people in there. They're more open with nudity and all that other shit. So, I could see why this movie may have been a bit more sexualized than most, but at the same time, these are still children, and I'm confused. Anyways, Ame's family has just moved into this new housing facility building with her mother and her younger brother. She is new in this land of whiteness and little girls are dressed like prostitutes. And she is going to, I'm going to call it Bible study with the other women in her family. There's an aunt. They call her auntie. I don't know if she's an aunt or a grandmother or just an elder, and they call her auntie. Let me know, people that are of this culture and religion. Anyways, you starting off, you can see that their family is very, strict about, showing your body and girlhood and, all that stuff. So she starts at her first day of school and she sees these little girls. They're like, I thought they were going to do like a flash mob, or back in the day when them people would just stand there and take up space and dance and be all up in the way in random ass places, and it was really annoying. Yes, those things. But no, they were just got all the kids on the playground to stand completely still like statues. These like 5 girls, and I think I may make 6. I'm gonna vaguely remember some of their names. I think the little girl with the glasses is Angelique. The little girl with the blonde hair is Jess. The little black girl is Kumo, whatever. And the little girl that is a little bit taller, she's not fat, she's just tall. I was a tall child, she's not fat. Um, uh, is named Yasmin, but they call her, like, they make fun of her weight and stuff just because she's tall. Before she starts school, she meets Angie first. I'm gonna call her Angie. She meets Angie first while she's coming from her Bible study church thing that they have in one of the apartments, or the conference room of her apartment building, with all the female elders. You can see she's bored during these things. She's looking around. She's looking longingly at her little brother and his little friend that don't have to join these prayer meetings because they're probably not old enough. I don't know. Let me know if you're part of this culture or religion. If I'm right, wrong, in between. And so, as she's walking out of one of these events, she passes the laundry room for the apartment building. And there's this little girl. I can just imagine, my children, with all these pedophiles out in this world. We are not in Garden of Eden. We cannot be walking around naked and not worry about people grabbing or touching. And no, it's not the child's fault if somebody tries to hurt them. But at the same time, let the child be a child. Why? She's in there with these skin-tight pleather leggings on, this crop top that's tied up at the top and her stomach's out. And she's like doing this ass shaking shit around the thing, And then she like splays her head across the ironing board and irons her hair and shit. So she's just, a whole movement. And it's good that she likes to dance. That's her background. She likes to dance. That's her thing. And it's good and great. And why does the clothing have to be off? And these children, these are real. I sat through this for y'all. Why? These are real children. So it's like, I'm wondering what kind of decompression session they had before, during, and after filming this. So these children aren't going home traumatized. It's like when we were just cowboying it in like anytime before 1999 in the movies, where we would just do any fucking thing with the kids. Yes. Yeah. So she's twirling and shit. And Ame's looking at her, admiring just her twirls and the fact that she's half naked and all this other stuff. So anyway, it shows up at school. This girl was doing like a little freeze mob, stupid shit. It was interesting to look at, but then you saw what they were wearing. And it's not even like it was like cute, stylish, sexy clothes. It was like, if you see a prostitute walking down the street, those loud, bright colors, cheap material, Fashion Nova-ish, but like the Compton Boutique-ish. There you go. Compton Boutique-ish, bodycon, tight skirts, crop top shit. They just took them to some cheap little boutique where everything's $1 and said, go find some shit that fits you, go in there and put it together. They let these girls dress themselves in a sexy way, you can tell. Anyways, these girls, the teacher comes out, principal, yard person, and tells them to disperse. They disperse. And then from then on, Ame is fascinated by these little girls. She's spying on them when she's supposed to be taking her brother to, do stuff. And her mom is kind of like, going through her own shit. So she's not paying as much attention as she should to her child right now. So during the course of this, we find out that Ame is waiting for her dad to come back, and she's wanting him to come back, and she's expecting gifts when he comes back. He's in Senegal. And her mom's just brushing her off, not telling her that her dad's not going to be back for a while. And one day, Ame is trying to copy those girls. She's made her little shirt into like a little crop top and is dancing and shaking like a fucking 20-year-old. And she's 11. These children are actively 11. And, her mom's coming, and so she tries to untie it, and then she slides under the bed to hide from her mom. Her mom and the auntie comes into the room, and she learns that her dad has married another person and added a new wife to the family. And from then on, we see this deterioration in her of hatred for her dad. Her mom, after hearing this news, tries to put on a brave face. She has to call somebody and let them know. I guess maybe it's one of the church people. I don't know. Let me know, cultures, religions, and things. Let me know. And then she sits there and she starts crying, and she lays underneath the bed and listens to her mom cry over this bullfuckery. And I am not knocking anybody's culture, but if people don't want to participate and it's causing mental health issues, but her mom forced herself through, and there were people in her family, in her church, telling her that she didn't have to stay in this marriage, but she pushed through and stayed in the marriage, even though she saw that it was detrimental to her mental health, and then also to her child's mental health. This is a lot. Anyways, after that, there's a deterioration of how Ame views herself and behaves. She almost becomes a little conduct disordered. No empathy, no feelings, just focused on this sexy dance shit. So anyway, she goes gung-ho into meeting those girls. And she spies on them dancing, and they throw rocks at her and hits her in the forehead, and then they bully her and then call her homeless. And I'm like, y'all, they say, you're dressed like a homeless person. And she's like, I'm like, not she's like, I'm like, well, y'all are dressed like prostitutes, and they both do things on the streets, so I don't understand what the... And nothing against sex workers, but these are children, okay? And no. So and that goes for children that are of the sex trade, that are being slaved out to people. They are not sex workers, they are being molested. Anyways, so they let her join their little group, and she gets to record the video that they do to their little twirly ass shaking things. And they say she did a good job, and then she takes the recording and she spends a good portion of the movie practicing in her bathroom how to do the dance, while she is slowly becoming friends with Angelique separately in the apartment building. Yep, that's live. It happened. Yep, that's... Oh, it didn't stain. Didn't stain. It's just kombucha. It's clear stuff. So, over the course of this, there's this boy, apparently, that the little girl likes with the glasses and everything, and she likes him, and they basically spend a good portion of the movie like sexually harassing him. So, at one point, they tell Ame to film him while he's in the bathroom, to film his penis, because these girls, they look at things online, look at people's penises and talk about it, which, okay, I'm gonna say all the shit they're talking about is normal developmental shit for kids to be curious about, okay? The way they dress isn't, though. When you have positive parenting, but then this is in France, where people are more sexually free than in America. It's still the same vices, but it's like Americans like to act like, oh, we don't have the vices, you shouldn't, but all you doing the same shit. So maybe that's why them dressing with nakedness out at 11 years old, my mom would have beat the shit off of me. And I thank you, Mom, for having me watch those Lifetime movies at such a young age, to the point where I was just a tomboy and liked to play. That's all I like to do. Mostly all the way up until like the 10th grade. And then that's when I started trying to dress cute and do all these different things. And so, I was scared of strangers. I didn't want to walk around half naked, just because why? I could rollerblade and But in the middle of these things, they are doing kid stuff. Like, Ame invites Angelique to, her home, and they do little silly kid things. Oh, and in their apartment, there's a room that Ame wanted for herself when they first moved in, but their mother kept telling them that that room is not for them. So apparently, that room is for the other wife. And I just, how do you deal with some shit in your culture that you feel like you have to do, but you don't want to do, and it causes mental health issues? Let me know. Let me know how that works, And so, over the course of time, after Ame finds that out, they decorate the room and shit and prepare for the wife and whatever. And, Ame and Angelique go in the room and jump on the bed and do all this random shit. And, I was just like, is the room like sacred? Did they do like a blessing? They're just like going in there, ruining the sacredness, laying on the bed and stuff. But all this shit is fucked up. So if them kids want to jump on the bed and make silly faces at that, I was thankful for the moments in this movie where these kids just acted like regular fucking kids. But anyways, so Ame is practicing these dance moves in her bathroom from the video she recorded of the girls. Her goal is she's going to be in the dance group too. And, she becomes closer and closer with these girls, and there's this boy, and they tell her to film his penis, and he's like, she just walks up to him with the camera like this, like he can see you. She doesn't try to sneak it or hide it. He's just looking at her like, are you filming me? What the fuck? So she runs out, and the girls are gone. They were egging her on all the way up until she walked into the bathroom. And then they look at the video and like, there's his penis isn't on there. So Angie likes this boy. This boy is like in high school, and I was happy to see that most of these people in this movie were not child molesters. We're doing some fucked up, Eve's Bayou shit here, where it's like, oh, the girls are sexual, and so, obviously it's hard for the men to say no when the girls are like this, but these men say no. Like some shit like the girls are initiating this shit. And it's like, no, of all the people and who've experienced abuse, sexual abuse and sexual assault, that it doesn't matter. Like, these are 11-year-olds. What are you? If them fuckers had touched them, it would still be their fault. But whatever. Anyways. Well, during the course of this, at some point they go on this live chat with this boy and start flirting with him. And, they don't have their camera on, so the boy doesn't know who he's talking to. So they start talking sexually with the boy about breasts and random shit. And then Yasmin, the tall girl, she's like, I don't know if she low-key hating or whatever, but she turns the camera on and Angelique flips the fuck out. She's mad at her, and she's mad at her at school the next day. And Yasmin is just like, are you still mad at me and whatever? And Angelique wants her out the group. She's talking shit. So then they get into a fight, but then Yasmin is like, she backs up. She's like, I don't want to fight you. But Angelique is flipping out. She hitting her and all this other stupid shit. So Angelique's like way mad. She's super mad that this boy who doesn't like her and doesn't want her following him around and doesn't want her talking to him, found out that it was her on the live chat thing. So they kick Yasmin out the group. And then what's her name? Ame invites herself into the group, shows Angelique her little dance moves and says, look at me. And then she adds some extras to the... So during the course of this, they show another scene where Ame is at, Bible study time, and she has her hijab, whatever it is, covering her whole face, and she's literally looking at videos of bitches twerking online. Parents, monitor your children. I know mommy was going through shit. I know she was. I know, seeing your husband come home with a second bitch when you don't want him to have a second bitch, but your culture says you have to be okay with him having a second bitch. And I know it was hurtful, and you had to stuff that shit down because there was nothing you could do about it, and you wasn't going to leave. But it's just not. It's just... It's She's sitting in there looking at bitches twerking during Bible study. So anyway, she comes out and she's sitting outside because the girls, when she had met with the girls earlier, they had basically, when she was filming them, they had basically turned her around and said, look how flat her ass is. And then they just start hitting her. These are 11-year-olds. They started hitting her on the ass. And I'm not saying this is not how little girls act in real life. You don't film the shit, and you do better parenting, and you don't allow them to wear dresses that look like bargain basement hooker clothes. So, yes, girls, even today, women friendships, we're touchy-feely with each other. I'm not. I don't want you to touch me. You're not my nigga. But, yeah. So, I mean, it happens. We're touchy-feely with each other and shit, even as we age. But you don't film little girls. You know what? Anyways, so they were talking about her flat ass. So after she's watching the twerk videos under her scarf, she's sitting outside of the Bible study watching all of the women come out and staring at their butts and smiling. So, I just feel like Ame is a tad bit more sexualized here than the rest of the girls. And I really was starting to feel like something happened to her. She was molested. Something happened to this little, because she was just too into it, and the way she got towards the end. Anyways, she's sitting there watching them, and then, she goes and shows the girls that she can do her little dance, and she's making the sexy faces and showing them how to make the sexy faces, and they preparing for this dance thing, and they got into the preliminaries and all this other shit. And then the day that they got into the preliminaries, the day before the day they got into preliminaries, her auntie is talking about, no, wait a minute. No, that was after that. Okay. Her auntie's talking about, I'm going to help you become a woman. You're going to help me cook all the food for the wedding. It's like, well, the wedding's not till a few days. And she's like, well, it's going to be a lot of food, so it's going to take a few days, so she got her cutting onions and shit. She's sobbing over the onions and all this nasty bodily fluids getting into the food. But, I believe in the heat cooking the germs away when it comes to really good food, because I would have still ate that shit. Coronavirus or not, I'm not turning down traditionally made homemade African food, Senegalese food, whatever. And so, come the day, they're still cooking shit. She's walking down the street with grandma. She needs to go to preliminary, so she just drops everything and runs to the fucking preliminary. Leaves auntie there. Her brother's there looking at her like she's fucking crazy. Her brother's running in the street trying to chase her. He stops. She gets to the preliminaries, and the girls are dancing by themselves without her. And they're fucking up because she taught them the twerking moves, and they are like 2 dance steps ahead of where they're supposed to be and all this other shit. But, they end up making it to the finals. They almost don't talk to her after that, but then she cries to Angelique and says, I was there, the door was locked, I couldn't get in. And then the other 2 girls, Kumo and Jess, are just like, bitch, fuck you, lying asshole. And Angelique is just standing there staring. She's the boss bitch of the group just because she has long hair, and otherwise she looks like a little chittery mouse. Which is okay because she's a child. And they shouldn't be dressing the way they were dressing. I don't care what nobody says. But Angelique believes her. She gets her back in the group. They sneak into some fucking laser tag thing, and they're doing the kid shit. They're pretending to shoot each other and all this other shit. They falling all over each other like children do. They get caught by the security guard. Security guard's like, I need your parents' phone number. I'm gonna call your parents, which is like, why do you think these kids gonna listen to you? They already did some hood rat shit. Why the fuck you think these kids about to listen to you about calling their fucking parents? Girl, bye. But he up there talking about, I'm gonna call your parents and all this other shit. Then his supervisor come, and he talking about, I'm gonna call the police and all this other shit. And then the girls start screaming because they just got the text that they got into the preliminaries and whatever the fuck. So they all start screaming, and then May says to the security guard, we're dancers, and if we go to jail, then we're gonna miss our dance competition. Look, I'm a dancer. And then she starts twerking and shit and doing all this nasty ass dancing in front of this fucking security guard. And I'm just like, and the old supervisor security guard just looking at her. Like just looking at her, just nasty. And I'm just like, we're not gonna ease by you this. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that, because I have seen clients who, on the surface, they may have initiated the sexual advances, but they still ended up traumatized. So I don't give a fuck. Anyways, they let them go, and the young security guard is looking at the old security guard like, really, nigga? Like, ew. So during the course of this, Ame has a cell phone. She stole this cell phone while they were moving in. Her cousin was helping them move in and things like that. So she's been using this cell phone to post selfies. She started in the beginning posting selfies of herself, trying to look cute like the girls and shit. Then she was like texting them and shit. I'm just trying to understand why this nigga had his phone still in service. I mean, she was using it outside of the home, because at first I was like, maybe it's Wi-Fi. But you know, some countries and cities and shit have, you know, citywide Wi-Fi that's free and shit. So I don't know, because I would have turned that shit off. I would have just turned it off, you know, and that'd have been that. So maybe it was Wi-Fi. Anyways, she has a cell phone, and she needs it to like post shit and all this other stuff. And so she's posting shit. And what did she post? She posted some stupid shit. Like, she posted 2 things. So she didn't post this, but like, okay, so what had happened was that, so after Angie and them accepted her back, they're walking around school, and they walk out of school. It's the end of the day, and they see old dude that Angie like and sitting with a group of girls talking to them. And I think it was the dancers that was supposed to be competing with them. And so one of the girls looks over at them and throws a can in the air, and there's a trash can right there. So I don't know if she was throwing a can at them or if she was throwing it at the trash can. I don't know I don't know if they knew them or if they were that mad about it, but maybe they did, because they knew them. So it was like, yep. Anyways, Ame wows the fuck out, goes over, starts dragging this bitch by her hair, and everybody's like, what you doing, Ame? Stop it, Ame. And they trying to pull her off her, and then of course it's trying to pull her off. They pull her pants down, and she wearing these raggedy draws. And my thing is, if you can afford to get all these clothes and shit, you can afford, you know, some nice undies, you know. And so they videotaping her draws, and it ends up on the internet, and then all the girls is looking at her like, oh my gosh, we don't know what to do, because now all the people in the world, at the school anyways, think your draws is like hilarious and dirty and whatever the fuck. And so Ame doesn't know what the fuck to do after that. So what she does is she steals money from her mama. She's just going downhill. I don't know what happened. And my thing is like, this is signs of somebody that's been like physically molested, traumatized, something. You know, maybe it is just dad burying somebody else. You know, we can't dictate how deeply something traumatizes somebody. You know, because she doing all the extra. She's stealing from her mama. She didn't start off like this, okay? Anyways, she's stealing money from her mama, goes and buys a bunch of drawers, and they throwing the panties up in the air as they coming down the street. They got the panties and the bras on top of their clothes. Like, these are fucking children. And, you know, all this other shit. Little brother's trailing behind them, picking up the drawers and panties that they dropping on the floor. Like, why does he have to be exposed to y'all foolishness? Why does he have to deal with y'all? But anyways, they get home. Little brother has a drone. So this bitch bought her little brother a fucking drone. Her mom is shaking the shit out of her little brother. Not shaking him, but just asking him over and over again, where'd you get the drone from? Where'd you get the drone from? He's like, somebody in the park gave it to me. And she's like, tell me the name. So I think mom's aware that something's going on with Ame. And then little brother snitches on her and basically says, Ame bought us a bunch of shit. And then mom just looks at her and walks out the room. I think mom just kind of knows that, not not just kind of, because earlier dad called finally, and Ame didn't even respond. She threw the phone out the window. So mom knows that this is affecting her in a very fucked up way, and I think her mom wants to honor the fact that she feels fucked up, so she doesn't necessarily know that she can still implement consequences. You just talk to her about her problems and her emotions, but you still implement the consequences because she wilding the fuck out and doing stupid shit. Anyways, next thing you know, she's standing in the hallway after talking to Angie on the phone about how her underwear is all over the internet and shit. And her cousin come in, and her cousin sees her with his phone, and he is mad, and she like, no, I want to keep, like, she got the audacity to want to keep his fucking phone, and he's like, give me my phone, bitch, you was out here looking for it with me and all this other shit, and and she's like, no, I'm gonna keep the phone, fuck you, nigga. And then she just stands there and starts to take her fucking jacket off and stare at him in the face. Like, I was just like, something happened to Ame. You don't just, you don't behave like this at 11 years old. Like, even her other little friends, it eventually looks at her crazy because she's just doing a bunch of crazy shit. Like, he just looks at her like she's fucking stupid, and then he pushes her, and then she runs into the bathroom. And so she runs to the bathroom, and I don't understand why they had to show all of this, but she pulls her clothes down from the bottoms and then she proceeds to take a picture of her vaginal area. And you could see, like, what she was doing. You couldn't see her vagina. And I looked at the screen of that phone. I was like, please don't show this baby's vagina on the fucking phone. Jesus. It's like a train wreck. You can't stop looking at it. Like, what's going to happen next? What are they going to cross the line with next with these children and their bodies? Like, we already had, like, a whole music video montage after they found out that they got into the preliminaries, and they were just panning in on their crotch and their chest, and it was just like, for what? So anyway, she posts her vaginas on the internet and then gives her brother back her phone. She's thinking that this is going to make it so that, their group looks edgy and cool. And it's like, bitch, you just posted your 11-year-old girl parts on the internet for all your classmates and whatever pedophiles to see. I feel like some shit happened to her. You don't just do that at 11. You don't just, maybe it is. Maybe it is the marriage. Maybe it is. Maybe that's all it is. That can, but where did the idea, she's been watching a lot of shit on the internet too. Parents, monitor your children. Anyways, she throws a phone to her brother. Then she goes to school the next day like nothing's gonna happen. She just dresses in some skimpy little outfit and is walking down. And she's like the prettiest one of the bunch. So she make these little cheap ass outfits look cute. So she walking down the aisle because she needs to hand something to the teacher or help the teacher with some shit. And this little boy gonna touch her on her butt. Just slap her whole butt. And I just felt like, what was the decompression, the therapeutic things y'all did to help these children talk about the things that they experienced while making this movie? I just need to know, because these are 11-year-olds. I feel like to just give their parents the check and say, here you go, and let them leave. Like, what was up with the parents just allowing the children to be in a movie where they were sexualized so openly? And just be like, how much did they pay these people? Because it wouldn't be my motherfucking child, bitch. It would not be my child. If I had a child, I don't care what gender you represent as, you are 11. Bitch, no. Anyway, so she freaking the fuck out, and then she stabbed this little boy in the hand because he wouldn't shut the fuck up. Yes, he put his hand on her. I think they got that shit from that article where that little girl stabbed a little boy with a pencil because he lifted her skirt up. You know what? I feel like that little girl was justified, but was, And I guess Ame justified. You don't touch people. You don't put your hands on people. So she stabbed him in the hand, and rightly so. So, fuck that little nigga. Now you're gonna have nerve damage, bitch. Stop touching people. And so then we see Skip hop over to her mom, slapping the shit out of her in her face, and they do some kind of ritual. They think she's got a demon in her. And so they doing like this cleansing ritual where they throwing water, whatever the liquid is on her, whatever that ritual was, let me know. I don't know this religion. I don't know this culture. So if I say some fuck shit, please excuse me. But whatever it looked like some cleansing, clean the demon out type shit. And they put her arms up, y'all. And I have never seen in my life a fucking convulsion twerk. This little girl standing there in her underwear. She got on a fucking undershirt that little girls wear and a fucking sports bra. And I was just like... So we just making the movies for the pedophiles now. We just like, children are sexual creatures too, Oh gosh, just saying it. Oh gosh. I was so bothered by that scene. I didn't understand why it was like needed for the movie for her to have. Why couldn't she have clothes on with, the things? You don't need to show everything, We're trying to ease by you this shit. I will not allow it. And so you think that she got cleansed of the demon basically, but then the next thing you know, she meeting up with the girls. She trying to force them to do the dance, talking about do the dance. We still got to do the dance. The girls is just like looking at her like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You posted your vagina on the internet. And they're like, bitch, no. And so she flips the fuck out, and this labile mood, when your mood just shifts back and forth, it's called labile mood. And so her mood, it shifts, and she just was mad and yelling and trying to get them to do shit they didn't want to do, all this fuck shit. So they didn't want to do it, and they left her there and shit, and then she went back home, and her mom called the religious guy. I don't know what they call him in the Muslim church, like it's someone high up, to check and see if she has demons. And he told her mom that she doesn't have demons, but God doesn't give women things that they can't handle, and like if she feels like she needs to leave this marriage, then she needs to leave this marriage. And her mom is just standing there looking, because her mom know that this little girl is affected by the fact that her dad went and got a second wife. I think her dad touched her. I think her father did some shit to her, because she's too sexualized. I don't give a fuck. Even the little girls ain't as sexual as her. They ain't posted their bodies all over whatever. It's I don't know. Anyways, so she's trying to spend the rest of the movie begging the girls for her to be in a group again. The girls are like, no, fuck you, bitch. They invite Yasmin back into the group, and she just mumbling around sad for the rest of the movie. And then finally, on the day of the wedding, of her dad's wedding, we never see her dad, and then we see the second wife, but she's covered in like this whole burqa type shit. I think it was a burqa. Her whole face was covered, you can see, and she was dressed in all white, and she saw the lady, and she runs out of the house, finds her uniform that she hid in a little quarry that they practice in, puts it on, puts her makeup on, and then jumps Yasmin, pushes her into the water, and this bitch almost drowns. And Ame is just standing there staring at her, and I'm like, she's gonna let this bitch die. She just has lost all sense of self, no empathy. She just is gone. And a buoy happens to come along and save Yasmin. So good for the buoy, good for Yasmin, because Ame looked like she wasn't about to jump in there and get the little girl. She was gonna let that little girl drown. She didn't give a fuck. Anyway, she goes to the dance, and they just get pushed on stage because it was their turn next, and there was a lot of things happening. So So I fast forwarded through the I tried to watch it, and it was a lot. I fast forwarded through their little dance routine. So, like, if I missed something, I don't care. I didn't want to see that shit. And so, anyways, from where I stopped it when she was just standing there crying. And I was like, what happened? Why is she crying? So I had to rewind it a little bit back to the very end of the dance, which was disgusting. And I wish I didn't have to see that neither. And, from when I was fast forwarding it, there were just a lot of close-ups of parts of this girlhood that I didn't think that you should show on the television. Why is there such a focus on that? Why are we trying to slip in? I just feel like pedophilia never went away. It's been there since the dawn of time. The Greeks did it, the Romans, all them white motherfuckers, and probably some black, all the people in the world did it. It just went underground. And now, like a zit that's full of disgustingness and pus, it's trying to work its way back up into the limelight and be normalized in front of these motherfucking cameras. And I just am not here for it whatsoever. I hate this shit. I hate these motherfuckers. And I wish God would smite these put them on an island and set that bitch on fire. So everybody can just let the children be innocent little creatures that want to run around and play and have fun, and then one day they will develop puberties and liking people, and let that shit develop naturally like it should. Don't influence these fucking children by these types of shit, having these children overly sexualized like this. You know how many kids have their own Netflix accounts or go on other people and just be watching, and they gonna see this shit. What they gonna think? I could be out here with my stuff doing the things, and it's okay because they do it on the television. Bitch, whatever. It was just unnecessary. So she stops in the middle of the routine and just starts crying, and I think she just realizes in that moment while they're on stage performing for whatever type of prize. She didn't realize it beforehand. She could have though, but she didn't. And then she runs off the stage and leaves them little girls standing up there looking stupid with one of their members I mean, at least finish the performance. We gonna do this. Finish the shit. But I wasn't watching that shit. So, she runs off the fucking stage and then she goes home. And she's still in her outfit, and she running the house calling her mama and shit. And this outfit is like a little child bikini, basically. And she calling her mama, and the auntie come out. She like, why you dressed like a whore? And she's a whore and whore. And her mom comes out the room and looks at her, and she just like, stop talking shit to my daughter, bitch. Leave my child alone, ho. She don't say all that. She still has respect and whatever the fuck. I would say it though. And she pulls her daughter into the room and she tells her daughter, if you don't want to go to this wedding, you don't have to. And, Ame is just looking at her, and then we see Ame's dress. That's the traditional dress for the wedding that had been delivered earlier. And then we see the little skimpy outfit. Then we see, when we go through the halls, and then we see Ame dressed as a fucking kid, like she should have been the whole fucking movie. She's in jeans and an undershirt and a long sleeve overshirt. And I feel like that's how she should have been looking. Her fro is, luscious and out and beautiful. And then she goes outside and starts jump roping. And there's been a thing with this little traditional dress the whole movie. I think it's calling back to her, a reminder of her childhood and all this other shit. So when she would open the closet doing some stupid shit like stealing, the dress would be throbbing and shit to remind her of shit. And then one time she opened the closet and it was bleeding, and then that same day she started her period. That was the day she came back from looking at the girls' auditions and shit. And she came back and her auntie was just like, where did you go? Why did you just leave me and your brother there? And she's standing there and there's blood just coming out her, and I'm just like, whatever, it happens. But her auntie is talking to her about, this happened to me when I was your age. You're a woman now, and when I was your age I was getting married to some old nigga that molested me. But I'm gonna sugarcoat it and act like, it was amazing when, they probably, fell in love at some point. Who knows? I don't know. Uh, And so I'm just looking at her, and she's all like, "One day you're gonna have a joyous moment where you're getting married too," and da da da. And then she helps Ame go clean her stuff up, and then her mom walks in the room and is like, "You're a woman now," and it's just like, no, she's not. She's a little fucking girl. I wish somebody would have said I was a woman when I was 10 years old and I started my fucking. I think I said it. And I was just like, "I'm a woman now," and it was just, my mom just looked at me and was just like, "Yeah, I'm a woman." And then I went back and played with my Barbies and watched, Ren and Stimpy on the TV. And my mom always was mad because Heifer's name was Heifer. And she was like, "Why is that cow named a bad word?" And I would just look at her stupid like, "Isn't that what cows are called?" Anyways, so that was the movie. She just starts jump roping with the kids outside, and she jumps higher and higher, and I guess at that point she's just embracing her childhood and she has let things go. I guess that's the assumption here, but we're not going to Eve's Bayou this. Something happened to this little girl. That's why she was overly sexualized. That's why she was so caught up with them other little girls and their over-sexualized ways, but they were just over-sexualized on the surface. When in reality, they weren't like, it didn't go as deep down the rabbit hole as Ame was going. And Ame was fixated on sexualization, sex stuff, and all this other shit. And she thought it was going to get her, attention and shit. No, she was molested. Something. We're not going to just have a happy ending where she's jumping in this. Like, why would you think this movie is okay as you were filming the little child's crotch? Did you not have any reservations come to mind? Like, did you not have any thoughts of like, maybe I shouldn't just spend good 20 seconds in this here area of I don't know, y'all. What y'all think of this movie? Did you watch it? Did you not watch it? What? Like I said, I fast forwarded through some shit, like the part where they was on the stairs dancing. I just was like, I'm not looking at that. Just fast forwarded through, the end little routine. Like, from what I seen while I was fat, it was enough to just, keep the children just be innocent. Save the children, y'all. Save the children. Help them to be innocent and clean and wonderful in this world, and just play with toys and be happy and not care about how their body hangs out of their clothes. Rough it. Just play. The fuck? 11 years old. They not even teenagers. What? It don't matter if they ain't even. So, what y'all think? I don't know. I mean, just to summarize from what I could tell, this little girl was molested, and they trying to act like she wasn't. She was overly sexualized, and then she got, super interested in these group of girls that are dancing, and they're somewhat sexualized in the way they dress and how they talk and what they look at on the internet. But that's normal. Like, little girls are gonna look at shit on the internet. It's the new age. Their parents should be monitoring that shit, anyways. But they was out here trying to, like, take pictures of their bodies and try to fuck their cousins and so I just feel like something was going on with Ame. I feel like her mom was just letting her act the way she was acting because she felt like, she has to get this out of her system. She has to just acknowledge and be okay with the fact that her dad's marrying some other woman and having a baby with her. Just like I had to be okay with it and all this other shit. And it's like, no, bitch. No, not when she acting like she could have straight up smooth got raped. The people that she was around, they're predators looking for that. They look for shit like that, and they snatch little girls off the street because they think they're easy or some crazy whatever is just in their crazy fucking mind. Even if you ain't dressed like that, but it's like I'm more concerned about the innocence the innocence of it all. Why they gotta be dressed like that? Why you gotta focus the camera on certain areas of their body? Why is that okay? Why them is 11-year-olds. But you know what, let me stop. Anyways, that was my critique. That shit was garbage. It was garbage. I understand the message, but it was packaged wrong, and I feel like some things did not need to be added. But that was my critique of Cuties. What did y'all think? Later days.